So we're going to start off by making the magic ring, and to do that, we are going to leave a little bit of a tail, and then we are going to wrap the yarn around our fingers 2 times, like this, and then the remaining yarn tail, you're going to hold it with your thumb. So then we are going to take our hook, and we are going to go underneath these 2 and pull the working yarn and twist it like this, and then yarn over. So just simply put the hook underneath the working yarn again and pull through. So that is the magic ring. And so now we're gonna do 8 single crochets in the magic ring, and to do that, you're going to go underneath these 2 again, yarn over, so put your hook underneath these 2, and then put your hook underneath the working yarn and pull it. You have 2 loops on your hook, you see, 1, 2. Then yarn over and pull through. So that is 1 single crochet. So let's repeat that again. Put your hook underneath these 2 and then yarn over. So I like to simply insert it underneath the working yarn, which is this yarn, and then pull through. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through. So that's 2. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now that we're done, we can remove our fingers. And now you see that hole in the middle? We're gonna put our finger in it. And then that yarn tail that we left, we're going to pull on it till one of these 2 closes. Or tightens, sorry. So for me, it's the one on the right. So I'm going to remove my finger and I'm gonna pull on the one on the right to tighten the one on the left. And then now that we tightened one of them, you see it's like tightened, we're going to pull again on the yarn tail that we left and pull, and there you go. There's your magic ring. And then we are going to put a stitch marker at the end of our first stitch. Sorry, at the end of the 8th stitch. So for us, it's the one always closest to the hook. So do you see that V here? So we have the loop, which is this one. It's on the hook. And then we have the one closest to it. So that is the 8th stitch. So now for the next round, we're going to do 8 increases. And to do an increase, it's basically 2 single crochets in the same stitch, in one stitch basically. So we're going to go into our first stitch, which is this one. You see, you're going to go into both parts of the stitch. Okay? So you see how there are 2 loops on our hook, like besides this one. So anyway, to do a single crochet again, we said yarn over, pull through. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through. So that's 1 single crochet. And now an increase is 2 single crochets. So we have to do a single crochet in that same stitch that we made the first single crochet. And so go back in like this, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. So that is an increase. And yeah, just we're going to keep repeating that all around until we reach our stitch marker. Okay, so now we reached the stitch marker, and basically we're going to remove it. And then we are going to go into that stitch that had the stitch marker in, and we're going to do an increase, our final increase. So there you go. Now we're done. So now we're going to go back and put our stitch marker into the stitch closest to the loop that's on our hook. So if you can't see because the stitches are a bit tight, you can just like extend the loop on your hook for a second and see which stitch is closest. So for us, it is this one. So therefore I put my stitch marker here, and then I will tighten the loop that was on the hook by just pulling on the working yarn. And there you go. So essentially you're always going to do that. So whenever you reach the stitch marker, you're going to do whatever the pattern says to do in that stitch marker, in that stitch that had the stitch marker, and then you're going to take the stitch marker out, do whatever it said, and then put it back. Not in the same stitch, but in the stitch closest to the loop that's on our hook, in our last stitch basically. So now we are going to do 1 single crochet and then 1 increase all around. So to do that, you do 1 single crochet in 1 stitch, and then 1 increase in another stitch. And essentially you're gonna keep doing that all around. So 1 single crochet and then 1 increase and 1 single crochet and then 1 increase all around. So now we're going to do 2 single crochets, 1 in each stitch, and then in the third stitch we're going to do an increase. So 1 single crochet in the first stitch, 1 single crochet in the second stitch, and then 1 increase in the third stitch. And so we're just going to keep doing that all around. So now I have 1 more stitch left, and so I'm going to take my stitch marker out and I'm going to do an increase, remember, because we did 2 single crochets in the 2 stitches before that. So you have to end on an increase. And then you're going to take your stitch marker and you're going to put it in the loop closest to, in the stitch closest to our loop. So for me it's here. And yeah, you're done. So now we're gonna do 3 single crochets in 3 different stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and then 1 increase in the next stitch. Now we're gonna do 4 single crochets in 4 different stitches, and then 1 increase. Now we're gonna do 5 single crochets in 5 different stitches and then 1 increase all around. So now we're just going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch for the next 9 rounds, and you'll know that 1 round is over once you reach the stitch marker, and then you remove it, you do the 1 single crochet in that stitch that has the stitch marker, and then you put it back. And yeah, you're gonna do it for 9 rounds. So 9 times you're gonna do 1 single crochet in each stitch and come back. So now we're gonna do 5 single crochets and then 1 decrease. And so just do 5 single crochets like we've been doing for so long. And now to do a decrease, we need to go into the front loop, so the part of the stitch that's facing us. Okay, so go into the front loop of this one, not this one, okay? So not the one back, it's the one in the front. And then go into the next stitch and go into the front loop of the next stitch, and then yarn over and pull through both and then you have 2 loops on your hook, and then yarn over and pull through the remaining 2 loops. So now again we're gonna do 5 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're going to do a decrease. So to do that, we go into this part of the stitch and go into the next stitch and go into the front loop. So again, the part facing us of the next stitch, and then yarn over and pull through. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through. And yeah, just keep doing that all around. So now we're going to do 4 single crochets and then 1 decrease all around. So now we're gonna do 3 single crochets and then decrease all around. So now we're gonna do 2 single crochets and then 1 decrease all around. So now make sure to stuff the head quite a bit until it's very chubby. Now we are going to do 1 single crochet and then 1 decrease, and keep doing that all around. So now we're just going to decrease all around in each 2 stitches, you know. So I just finished my last decrease, and now we are going to fasten off, and to do that I like to do a slip stitch. And so go into the next stitch and then yarn over and pull through. Then you have 2 loops on your hook, and now instead of yarning over and pulling through both like you would do for a single crochet, you just pull through the loop that was already on your hook, and that's it. Then you cut your yarn and leave a little bit of a tail. So now to fasten off the hole or close off the hole, we are going to thread our needle, and then we are going to go into the front loops again. So the loop towards us, like this one, not the one in the back, not this one, it's this one, the one in the front. And we are going to just go through all of the loops, the front loops only. So just keep doing that all around until you've reached the end. And then now you just pull on the tail, and there you go. So now I like to fasten it off and secure it, by just going through a bunch of stitches. Just go through a bunch. Now we are going to make the hood, and to make the hood I made 8 single crochets in a magic ring, and basically we're just going to follow the same pattern as the head up until the part where we do single crochets all around for 9 rounds. So we're going to do all the steps between those, right? But instead of doing 9 rounds of single crochets only, we're going to do 10 rounds. So we're going to start off by doing 8 single crochets in a magic ring, and then we're going to do 8 increases, 1 single crochet, 1 increase, 2 single crochets, 1 increase, etc. And then we are going to do eventually single crochets all around for 10 rounds instead of 9 rounds, and then come back. So now we're just gonna do 5 single crochets and then 1 decrease all around. Next we're gonna do 4 single crochets and then a decrease all around, and essentially we're just gonna keep lowering the amount of single crochets we do. So then we're gonna do 3 single crochets and then a decrease, and so on. So I made sure to put the head inside of the hood, and it may be a little difficult, so you're just gonna have to squish it in and then adjust it as you like. And so now we're just going to do 3 single crochets and then a decrease all around. And now you're going to do decreases all around until you reach the end of the stitch marker, and then fasten off. Now that we've finished the hood, we are going to attach the black yarn to make the pointy part. And to do that, I'm just going to pick a random stitch. So I'm just going to choose this one and just make a loop on your hook and pull through. And then now we are going to chain one, and to do a chain one, simply wrap your yarn around your hook and pull through. And so now we are going to be doing single crochets, 8 single crochets. So we're going to go into the next stitch and just work over both the stitch and the yarn tail so that you don't have to weave it in at the end. So to do that, simply go into the next stitch as if you're going to do a single crochet, and then make sure that the yarn tail from the yarn that you connected is underneath the hook. And then with your working yarn, which is this one, you're going to yarn over and pull through both, and then yarn over and pull through. So that is 1, and then now we are going to do 7 more. And finally, 8. And so you could always turn it to check if it's symmetrical, and I think it is symmetrical. So now we are going to chain 1, and turn your work like this. And so now we are going to make 1 decrease, so go into 2 chains in the front loop of 2 chains and pull through. And then we are going to make 4 single crochets actually. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we are going to decrease again. So go into the front loop of the first stitch and the front loop of the second stitch. Yarn over and pull through. So now we are going to chain 1 and turn your work again. And so we're going to do a decrease. Now we're going to do 2 single crochets. And then a decrease. Now make sure to chain 1 and then turn your work, and then just do 1 decrease. And chain 1 again, and then cut your yarn and leave a bit of a tail so that you could sew the pointy part. It's going to look like this. So now to sew the pointy part, we're just going to pick a couple stitches from the head. And then take a stitch from the hood itself, like the pointy part of the hood, and then go back into the head. So I made 6 single crochets in a magic ring, and now we are going to do 6 increases. So now for 2 rounds, we're just gonna do 1 single crochet in each stitch. And then we're going to fasten off the first leg, and then cut your yarn, and make sure to repeat the same steps to make the second leg, but do not fasten off, okay? So once you finish 2 rounds of single crochets, do not do the slip stitch at the end to fasten it off. So I just finished my second leg and I didn't fasten off. And so now we are going to chain 2. So yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. So remove your stitch marker from where it was originally placed, and we are going to put it in the stitch right next to the loop. So again, if you don't know how to see, just make it a little bigger, and then you'll see that the closest is this one. So then just put it there, and that's where you should end from, like, all the rounds from now on. And that's it. Now we are going to join the legs. So take your first leg, and you see where the tail that you left comes from? Yes. So we're gonna go into the stitch right next to it. And then we are going to make a single crochet by just doing the regular single crochet. And that is our first single crochet. So now your leg is connected, and now we need to do 11 more single crochets. So a total of 12 single crochets on your first leg. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And so now we are going to go into the stitch on the second leg. So this one, the one closest again to where we fastened off. So we fastened off here. So the one closest is to here. So then just do 12 single crochets. So now we are going to make 2 single crochets in the chain 2. So just repeat the same steps that you did before. 1, and then the second chain from like the chain 2 is the stitch that we marked, okay? So go in that stitch, and that's it, you're done. You've connected the legs completely. Okay, so now we are just going to do 3 single crochets and then increase all around. So make sure that you go into the stitch right next to it, and that you don't skip it, and make the first single crochet, and then 2 more, and then an increase, and continue doing that all around until you reach the very end. So for the next 4 rounds, we're just gonna do 1 single crochet in each stitch. So you may notice that there's a small hole for me. It doesn't really show, but you might, depending on your tension. And so to sew it closed, I guess, you're gonna take the yarn tail that we left from the first leg, and we're going to thread it. And then I usually like to turn my work inside out just to sew it closed. So turn it inside out if you want, and then just start going through a couple loops, or stitches, sorry, until it tightens like this. Just keep doing that, and just go through as many as you need to make sure that it is closed. So now we are going to do 14 single crochets and then 1 decrease all around until you have 3 more stitches and then just do 3 single crochets. So now for 2 rounds, we're just going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch. Finally, we're just going to do 5 single crochets and then 1 decrease all around until you have 5 remaining stitches, and then just single crochet in these 5 stitches. And then fasten off and leave a long tail, because this is the tail you're going to be using to sew it onto the head. So now we're going to work on making the collar. And so we're going to attach the black yarn wherever you want. It doesn't really matter. So I'm just going to take it here and just make a loop and pull through. And then you need to just chain 1. And so now you're going to work over the short tail and the working yarn. And so all you're going to do is 1 single crochet and then 1 increase in the next stitch all around. So now we are going to chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so into the second chain from our hook, so not this one, okay? The one right next to it. We're going to do 1 single crochet. And then we are going to do 1 half double crochet, and to do a half double crochet, we simply yarn over, insert our hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through. You have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3. And then we are going to do another half double crochet. And then we are going to do a double crochet. So to do a double crochet, we do yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull through. You have 3 loops on your hook. Now yarn over and pull through only 2 loops on your hook. Then yarn over and pull through the remaining 2 loops on your hook. And then we are going to yarn over again, and we are going to make another double crochet into another stitch, not the same stitch. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. So we have 1 more stitch, or chain, sorry. So we're going to do a treble crochet, and to do a treble crochet, you're just gonna yarn over 2 times. Okay, so like this. Then you're going to insert your hook into the next chain, yarn over, pull through. You have 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through only 2 loops, yarn over again, pull through 2 loops again, and finally yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops. There you go. And then you're just going to count 5 stitches from the collar that we made. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in the 6th stitch, you are going to make a slip stitch. And there you go. And then you're going to keep repeating that. Okay, so now to end it, we're just going to slip stitch and then cut your yarn and leave a long tail, because we are going to be sewing it onto the head. I made 8 single crochets in a magic ring, and now we are just going to do 8 single crochets all around. And then we are going to do 2 single crochets, 1 decrease all around. And now do 2 single crochets and then 1 increase all around. So now make sure to stuff the pom-pom part of the ears. Now do 3 single crochets and then 1 increase all around. And now we're going to do 4 single crochets and then 1 increase. And now we are going to do 5 single crochets and then 1 increase. Now do 6 single crochets and then 1 increase. So for the next 2 rounds, we're just going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch. We are going to do 7 single crochets and then 1 increase. And now we are going to do 8 single crochets and then 1 increase. Now we are going to do 8 single crochets and then 1 decrease all around. Now make sure to fasten off by doing a slip stitch and then cut your yarn and leave a bit of a tail. When you're done with the ear, make sure to repeat it again so that you can make a second ear. So I made 8 single crochets in a magic ring, and now for the next 8 rounds we are going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch and then fasten off. So I made 6 single crochets in a magic ring, and now I'm gonna do 1 round of single crochets all around. And now do 1 single crochet, 1 decrease all around. And now make sure to fasten off and sew the hole closed like we did with the head. So now we are going to sew the ear onto the head, and to do that, just pick wherever you want the ear to be, and then just choose a stitch from the hood, and then a stitch from the ear, and continue doing that. So a stitch from the hood, and you can go through a couple stitches from the hood as well, like it depends on how you want to secure it. And then a stitch from the ear, and keep doing that until it's secured. Okay, so we're gonna start off by sewing the body onto the head. And so you're gonna take the black yarn that we left from the collar, and you're going to thread it, and then just place the head wherever you think is right, and then just pick up a piece from the hood, and then pick up a piece from the collar. Doesn't matter which piece, just something. And essentially you're gonna keep doing that all around. So a piece from the hood, and then a piece from the collar, and then a piece from the hood,